Welcome to the Coach Bryan Moore Show. I'm your host, Margaret Ann Praytor, alongside Coach Bryan Moore. And I just want to remind everybody, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like it, and view us there or on Facebook. I think it's also going to be available on the NFHS network. So also tune in every Friday to the NFHS network so you can watch the live broadcast. And we also have radio, hartsellfootball.com. You can get the audio there. But before we begin, I want to make sure to thank our sponsors. Haven't done that a lot lately. Eddie Pruitt Ford, Bentley's at the Outhouse Life Church, Quorum's Building and Farm Center, and of course we want to thank you fans. So Coach, great win over Decatur Friday night, 38-10. I want to go to the interview you had right at the end of the game. You were talking to Shane about staff cohesiveness. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I think it's one of the most crucial things that we have. And, you know, I've been fortunate. I've never been on a staff that wasn't close. And so when I hear people talk about it, you know, this is my fourth job. And so I've been around now. I'm experienced. This is 15 or 16 years, whatever it is, in coaching. And so I've been and met a lot of people. And I hear, you know, when people talk about their staff and the fact that they don't get along or that they don't do things outside of, you know, football or whatever, I can't understand that fully, because now we're not all best friends. I mean, it's not like that. This is still business, right? And it's still our job and how we make a living and, you know, pay for our house. And so there's some seriousness, you know, on that, but we have grown so much as a staff, you know, and really we have some new faces. I think there are 5 new coaches, including myself here, and a lot of guys that came from different places that we brought in. But it's been really good, and we're starting to figure each other out. You know, we're starting to settle into our role within the game, and you know, now it's starting to sort of gel. And so when you put a program together, it's not just the players. You know, it's the coaches, the sports staff, administration, everything that goes along with it, and we're starting to get that now.
Well, and you have to remember, you guys, you know, the time that you would have bonded or had spring, right. You were doing virtual meetings during COVID.
Yeah, well, and we can't do a lot. I mentioned outside of school, I haven't gotten the families together yet, which I always do, and cook at my house because I'm afraid to, you know what I mean? I don't know what's acceptable right now in a social norm, and I want to keep everybody healthy. So there have been some things that we've had to bend on that I'm used to doing, but we're finally really settling in. I enjoy coming to work. I hope they do. I've always tried to create an atmosphere that starts with leadership, in my opinion, and you have to create an atmosphere where people are, you know, their ideas are welcome and they feel valued. And I think, and I hope that I do that, and I know that I feel valued within our school. So that just goes a long way empowering people.
Now more back to the actual game itself. 400 yards, actually 415 yards of total offense. I know you're proud of that statistic.
Finally, you know, that's a crucial number, however you want to cut it. You know, in the past 6 quarters, including the second half of Coleman, we've scored 58 points, almost 10 points a quarter, and we've had 600 plus yards of offense. So that's 100 a quarter. I think we're getting going. I mean, you know, again, there's going to be still some inconsistencies because of youth, but we're starting to, you know, get through that. Like, I think the crucial piece of that game to me was that we got in the third quarter, we were real sluggish coming out in the third and had to put the ball on the ground a couple of times, which we haven't done all year. But then we rallied back and we scored 2 touchdowns at the end to seal the game. And I was really pleased with that. I was really concerned about how we started that third quarter, but we continued to push and we got going again. And I think that's a sign of a little bit of maturity coming along.
Well, and yeah, I agree. At 3 quarterbacks got some playing time,
yep.
But I want to talk about your 2 main guys. Was that what you planned on doing? Do you want to keep on doing that? And then I also wanted to follow up and see if Parker was okay, because I saw him on the sideline with an ice pack.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. You know, we're not sure about Friday just because of being, you know, taking precaution, you know, and being cautious about that. But that's how we wanted to play all year. Okay. But we're going into Coleman, you know, JT's second day back was the game. Right. And so he, you know, I was afraid because as talented as he is, practice is still critical. And what we do, we feel like, you know, you have to practice and work. And so, ultimately we just slid him in at the end of that game, but then that was always the plan. What you saw, the balance, I actually watched the NFHS broadcast and I didn't really realize, because when I'm calling plays or when we're talking on the headset, you sort of zone in on one thing, but we're running a lot of guys on and off the field. If you watch, sometimes there's as many as 5 running on and off. And that's how we wanted it to look. We want to be multiple and versatile, and finally you saw that Friday.
Well, and in the broadcast, they were talking about the offensive line switching in and out some, a little bit more than used to. And so you're switching out every position out there.
We're getting healthy. See, Mac is back, so we wanted to roll him in, and Floyd McNutt comes in and out, and we rotated 3 different fullbacks in the game. I mean, that's who we want to be. We want to play a lot of kids. We're really at a developmental time in our program. I mean, even though we've won some games, we're still developing. We're not very old, and so we want to play a bunch of kids, and because all those reps add up at the end. And over the years, that's really going to pay. Going to be huge for us. Yeah, no doubt.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Hey football fans, we are so excited to have another year of Hartselle football underway. 2020 season, expecting a great year, and we're so excited about Coach Bryan Moore and his family being here. Coach Moore's a great coach, and he's going to lead us to great things right here in Hartselle, but not only this year, but for years to come. Go Tigers!
And we're here with our Eddie Pruitt Ford Player of the Week, Kelvin Morrison. And Kelvin, let me start out by telling you, I feel like we should have already had you up here a couple times. I know last week you showed out, and we had to choose between 2 excellent performances. So we wanted to make sure to get you up here this week. And I'm hoping to get you back another week or two on into the season. So I got a few questions I want to ask you just to let the fans get to know you, things like that.
Okay.
First off, you transferred from Clay Chalkville in the spring, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so how's Hartselle different?
It's so different. The people here, the vibe, it just made me feel so like homey. So I just like it.
Well, that's good. More laid back?
Yes, ma'am, very.
Okay, good. Last week and this week have not been the most difficult opponents. I mean, let's be honest. So how are you guys staying motivated?
We motivate ourselves, especially our coaches.
Hold each other accountable?
Yes, ma'am. Very.
See? Good answer. Everybody loves game day. And I wasn't a fan of practice. I was somebody I play volleyball. I want to get out there and play the game. But what's your favorite part of practice? Because practice is very important.
When we go team ones against ones, I love that.
Okay, yeah, that's the common answer. So everybody seems to like that, and I know Coach is listening. So, so what do you plan on doing after high school?
I plan on going to college, getting education, especially I want to play football. But other than that, that's all I want to do.
What you want to be, do you know?
Right now, I'm still deciding. I don't know yet.
Well, that's A-okay. That's perfectly okay. Well, we thank you for taking time, coming and sitting down with me, getting to know Kelvin Morris a little bit better. Hopefully he'll be back with another excellent performance, and we want to thank you for your time. We'll be back. All right, and we're back. Margaret Ann Praytor alongside Coach Bryan Moore. And Coach, I know I keep asking about the run game, but our leading rusher was a quarterback.
Yep.
Parker Sawyer had 47 yards. Is that what you're intending with the option game, or we just can't quite get it going yet?
Well, we didn't run Mookie as much as we wanted to. Part of that was their scheme. The reason you saw so many quarterback runs, perimeter quarterback runs, was because that's what they were giving us. We ran it to the weak side of the field, which to the boundary. We ran it to the strong side of the field, and then we set up the play action to Isaiah at the end that kind of put the game away off that same play. No, it's not our intention, but one thing that's different about this team, I've never really had this luxury, is that Mookie's such a great blocker. Like the first time we went down the sideline, he absolutely destroys this kid. And then we ran it again, and Parker goes in 15 yards untouched. And that has a lot to do with him. And so it wasn't our intention to do that, but it's the way the game played out. And, you know, I think for us, we're so versatile offensively that we can do things, you know, within the game to fix those issues, because they played it a little bit differently than we expected. But we adjusted and went right to it. Within drive one, we adjusted within the first drive. Again, I have good box eyes and good guys on the sideline that are helping, and we just stuck with it. And again, we ran Parker more than we even expected.
Okay. Fletcher and Wright, they're starting to emerge as your two go-to receivers. Yep. What can you say about their performances?
Well, Isaiah, in the past 6 quarters, has had 5 touchdowns and 250 yards receiving.
He's been average.
And he's really getting going. But it's so many different ways to get him the ball. Matter of fact, he didn't get a lot of throws to him when he was by himself into the boundary. We put him in the field. Most of his catches Friday night were from the field. So again, we're able to move him around. And then Trent is catching such tough catches.
Oh, he is.
Tough, contested. He has to go to the middle of the field and catch those tough ones. He's 6'2" or 3", big body, great hands, huge addition to our program. For him to come out was critical for our success. So those guys are getting going now. We got to get Bull going. I was looking at him, you know, we've thrown deep balls to him each game this year, and we just got to connect on one. And once he connects on one, it'll be on from that point, and we'll really become very versatile with that. And then Eli Tidwell, too, you know, had a couple catches, and he's coming on, and he returned a punt, a fair catch, fair call to punt, but he's back there. He's a really good athlete that we've missed, too.
Like you said, that versatility, interchangeable athletes.
Yes.
You know, I love to study stats. I love to get my stats. So this one came from it. This is my question. The 12% rule.
Yep.
I know y'all were at 13% last week,
yeah.
But what is the 12% rule that you look for?
So basically, years ago, I was at a clinic, and I don't remember where we were. We're all over the place. When I was at Opelika, we'd clinic everywhere, and I believe we're in Tunica, Mississippi anyway. And so we're there at this clinic. We're at this Nike deal, and this guy came in and he said, you know, you take your total plays, and you divide that by your drops, your negative plays, your penalties, and your sacks that you give up. And you take those and you divide that into that total play number. And if you're under 12%, you've had a successful night. Matter of fact, how I can kind of give an example of that is we played Auburn High School in the 3rd round. Reuben Foster was a linebacker there. Rashawn Evans, they were really, really good. And we were good too. And at Opelika, and we won the game 8-7. 8 points is all. We won 8-7. But we were under 12%. So we finished every drive with a kick, right? We either kicked a field goal, PAT, or punted. We didn't have any turnovers. We didn't give up sacks, and we controlled the game that way. So it's not, to me, about scoring 40 a game. Obviously, I've been fortunate to be on some teams that we did that, and that's awesome. But it's not necessarily about your explosiveness. It's about your effectiveness and efficiency rate. And that's what 12% is the rate of efficiency on offense. Basically, we rate an offensive play 4 yards for a run as an efficient run, 5 yards for a pass. So it's not about 40-yard bombs. Those are great. But if you can stay on the field, make first downs, be efficient, not turn it over, then you can still win games, protect your defense, and win that way. And we did that Friday night.
Okay. See, I love that. I learned something new today. All right, we'll be right back with a word from our sponsors. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Dirt on my hands, strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
And we're back. Margaret Ann Praytor alongside Coach Bryan Moore. Coach, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. You held Decatur to 10 points, but I'm going to go on the other side there. They had 13 first downs.
Yeah, we wouldn't get off the field. They snapped it 74 times, and we snapped it 52, which is surprising. Now, we were explosive, and we had some big plays, but we just, you know, to me, the play of the game was 3rd and 14. And we had it covered up. We rushed 3. We were able to get home a lot of times with 3 with our D-line, as good as they are. We didn't have to blitz. And we had a pill rule basically where the back comes out of the backfield, and our linebackers got to cover that guy. Well, his eyes were in the wrong place. So they throw a little swing. It's 3rd and 14, and we're fine still. We're going to rally and tackle. We miss a tackle. They make 16 yards on their sideline. Leads to their first field goal. So we went down the first drive of the game, scored. where we had 3 and out, we scored. Then here they go, 3rd and 14. We're going to get the ball back. We're going to score again and go up 14-0. But instead, that one play changed, to me, the momentum of the game. And they drive down and kick a field goal. So little things like that, I think we've got to do a better job. We had some busts Friday night, so we're going to go back and simplify some things and look at, hey, are we doing too much, with some of these young kids? Because Coach Newton's really sharp, right, and his staff, and they can handle, there's a lot of moving parts, and that's what stack is about, and blitzing and all these multiple coverages. But, are we overdoing it? I don't think we are. But we need to look at it that way and be critical of ourselves and say, are we overdoing it with these kids? Do we need to scale it back and just be really good at a few things and then build back on it? I think when you get to week 5, 6, somewhere in the middle of your season, you need to reevaluate you, self-scout a lot. We've done that over the last couple of days. And then say, how do we now build again? What are we good at? What are we not good at? Let's throw that out. And then let's just build on this good foundation right here. And I think we're going to do that.
Reevaluate. But you had 3 sacks. 5 broken up passes.
Yeah.
Defensive line is stepping up, playing well. You want to comment on that at all?
I actually called this morning. I called Kelvin and EJ in. Seth is playing a lot better. I called Kelvin and EJ in because I think it's the job of a coach to, push kids to the potential they don't even know they have, right? I think that's what makes a great coach and what makes a great staff. And so I called him in and I said, look, man, I'm just going to be real with you. It's really hard to say when you have 8 tackles, 2 sacks, tackle for loss, pass breakup, that you're not doing as much as you can, but you're not doing as much as you can. There's still more in there. And I said, and what do you 2 want? EJ, do you want to be a Power 5 guy? You want to go play in the SEC? You have the ability to do that, but you got to unlock a little more potential in there and get it done. Kelvin, you're a Division I player too. Do you want to get to that point? Because if you keep doing it your way, you can still have 8 tackles, but you're going to have Coach Bray ticked with you, and not doing everything right. And when we send out college film, they're going to say, well, what about this play when he didn't do it right here? Maybe we sign this other kid. It's not just about their college experience, but ultimately, this is where you are. We got to get you to the next level. So as good as they play, there's still a lot more in there for those kids.
I've heard a lot of good things about them, so I'm anxious to, looking forward to seeing what they can do. But I want to talk about your freshman, Caleb Goodwin. He had 11 tackles and 2 broken up passes. That's got to give you. First 2 tackles of the game, and tackles on special teams. And he's not missed 1 meaningful snap this year, as a 14-year-old kid. And there was a point, first off, Caleb's going to be really special. He's probably a college player. With Caleb, we got to keep him on the right path and stay. He's got great grandfather that, stays on top of him. And we've got to keep him, looking where he needs to, right, and keep his eyes focused on the right things. But there was a snap, we kicked off, and I looked, and on Crawford's right side, there were 4 freshmen standing together on the kickoff coverage team. And we were talking in the Sunday meeting, and one of the coaches said, have you ever experienced that? I said, guys, I've probably not played 4 freshmen in my entire career, and they're on one play on the same side of the ball. And that's just where we are, but the great thing is that, we don't have to say, yes, it's a development year, but guys like Caleb right now are good enough for us to be successful. We have to cover them up in some ways because, again, they're 14 years old. But they are stepping up and learning, and they're just going to be incredible here in a few years. All right. We're going to take a quick break, talk about next week. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
I'm Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you about the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. The versatility of the Big Green Egg is unmatched. It delivers big results as a grill, a smoker, and even an outdoor oven. Grill burgers, kebabs, steaks at 800 degrees, slow smoke a perfect slab of ribs, and even bake a crispy pizza. When the doctor cooks, I demand the best, and that's why I cook on the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. There he is.
Hey Hartsell, I'm Emily Boster and this is what's happening at Hartsell High School. A few weeks ago, I was looking through old yearbooks when I saw my freshman year geometry teacher, Miss Leg Battles. I started wondering, how many of my teachers graduated from the school I go to? So I went on a hunt to interview some of those teachers. First, I spoke with Miss Emerson. So what were you like in high school?
What I was like in high school is what I'm like today. I just went to school just to have fun. I should have studied a little bit more, but I went to have a good time and see my friends.
Did you always plan to come back to teach at Hartsell?
Well, actually, No, but when my daughter started kindergarten, I decided I would like to sub. And also my mother, she taught at Burleson and she was a first grade teacher. And so I always saw the relationship that she had with her kids. So I wanted to make sure that I had the same relationship with mine.
Then I spoke with Mrs. Lee. So what were you like in high school?
I was just a typical student. I was always in chorus, and then I was in performers my 11th and 12th grade year. I was treasurer of the senior class, and I was voted best all around of my senior class.
Did you always plan to teach here?
Well, I always planned to be a teacher, but I married someone from South Alabama, so I was teaching down there, and then my husband got a job here, so I was able to come home, so I was really excited to get a job here.
Next, I spoke with Coach Wright. What were you like in high school?
I was very shy and reserved. I didn't say a whole lot, believe it or not. Wasn't as loud as I am now.
What were you involved in?
All forms of athletics. I played football for a couple of years. I played basketball and played baseball.
Did you always plan to teach here?
I did not. I got a phone call one afternoon from Don Pouncey. I was working a job that my college degree prepared me to do, and Coach Pouncey called, and I have the utmost respect for Coach Pouncey. And he asked me to come back and teach and coach, and I started that next Monday morning. One of the biggest changes for me in the classroom is the fact that I'm actually teaching children of former students, and Noah Lee being one.
That's the truth. Now he's coaching my kid. And he was a teacher when I was in high school.
A long time ago.
Then I spoke with Mr. Key. So what were you like in high school?
Well, about like I am now, short, except then I was about 114 pounds, and energetic. I enjoyed having a good time.
What were you involved in?
Well, I was involved in Key Club. I was involved with marching band, symphonic band, jazz band. I also played for the performers for 3 years, and then my last year I decided to try out for that. I sang with them the last year.
Did you always plan to come back and teach here?
No, never did. In fact, I made the statement when I was a little bit younger and, not as wise to say that I'd never come back to Hartselle. Things changed. They asked me to come back, and I did a courtesy interview, and then they really told us we really want to build our band program here for Hartselle. And, I thought about it and looked at it, and it's the best decision I ever made.
I then spoke with Mrs. Lay Battles. What were you like in high school?
Well, very much like I am now. I love math. Mr. Booth taught me. That was before he was Coach Booth. I was a good student. I was actually one of the valedictorians of my class. And I started a petition to get a softball team, and we just wouldn't leave them alone until they let us have a fast pitch softball team.
Did you always plan to teach here?
And I didn't always plan to teach. I really thought that, honestly, when I was a senior in high school, I thought I might be a dentist. When I decided to teach math, after a lot of prayer, I feel like God just made my path so straight for that.
And lastly, I spoke with Mr. Fred. So what were you like in high school?
I was all involved in the yearbook, all 4 years in high school and 4 years in junior high, and also with the high school newspaper.
Did you always plan to come back and work here?
Actually, it was after 30 years of retail experience. I received a call of an opening that was at that time at the Board of Education. Now it's been starting my 8th year in the system, and just have never regretted. I just enjoy it.
I didn't have enough time to include all the teachers I interviewed, so make sure to check out the Tiger Times on Facebook or Instagram to watch the full length of this video. I'm Emily Boster, and that's what's happening at Hartsell High School.
All right, we're back with Coach Bryan Moore. We're going to look to next Friday, Coach. We're looking at playing Columbia. They're everybody's homecoming opponent. How do you get you guys motivated?
Well, I think you got to reevaluate you. We mentioned that earlier in the show, that you've got to look at yourself and say, what can we get better at? These are still high school kids that are going to come over here and play with passion and play hard. And, Coach Wells has them doing that. And they've struggled a little bit. That's no secret. I told our players I'm never going to lie about that. But I think they're improved from last year. He's doing a really good job there, and they've got a couple players that scare me a little bit. You know, first or second play of the Muscle Shoals game, kid goes down the sideline for like 65 yards against a really good team. And so I was like, well, if we don't line up and play, this is what will happen right here. But we need to come out and play well. And you know, again, we just right now our program's not in a situation where we can say, hey, we're going to be fine and everything. But you know, we got to go in one game at a time and just focus on ourselves and get better.
Well, and, you know, hopefully everyone's going to get to play Friday. I'm going to get what you're saying. But will that affect your game plan at all? Are you going to try to, you know, plan to where you can include more guys, or everything stays the same? We're just going to do the same thing week in, week out?
You know, years ago we were playing Booker T. Washington in Tuskegee. I was at Eufaula High School, and we went on the road there, and we had a pregame meeting. And in that pregame meeting, I usually never talk to the young kids. I mean, they're in the meeting, but it's not like, hey, threes, you know what I mean? We're going to get you ready to play or whatever. And I did that night, and we went to overtime with that team and had to beat them. Scored last play of the game, taking it in overtime, then won in overtime, and it was a rough night. And I told myself I'll never ever do that again.
So you answered that question.
You just gotta, you know, don't do. I was young, and I learned my lesson on that. So we're focused completely on our ones right now, and we just need to get better.
Okay. Injuries. Brian Torbert's ankle, I know you had a little tweak there. How are we doing injury-wise? We all right?
It seems fine. You know, Parker's deal is completely precautionary, like I mentioned. You know, he's going to be fine. We're fortunate to have some depth there. You know, I've got a handful, 4 kids that I feel really good about sending into a varsity game. Never had that luxury at quarterback. Not saying that we don't miss Parker, we will. But we expect to hold him. Everybody else seems pretty healthy.
Well, that's great. And now for our Eddie Pruitt Ford fan question of the week. Who's improved the most since August 1st?
There's been so much, my goodness. I think as a unit, I think it's got to be our offensive line. I mean, in particular, there are a couple kids that obviously have come along. It was tough sledding in June and July against our D-line, and those kids are growing up. You know, one thing that I love about our offensive line is they've taken it in the face some now, but they're fighting. You know, you don't see kids coming out of the game. They're not afraid. They've played obviously with Coleman and Austin, 2 really good teams, especially in the box up front with the big nose guard at Austin, and Coleman's kids were really good. Their linebackers were good. The one's a Division I player. But those kids didn't back down. And because of that, you know, we can keep practicing. And every day we're repping, and they're getting better and better. And I've probably been most pleased with that group.
Well, that's going to do it for us this week, Coach. We appreciate you taking time and talking to us. And we're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors. This has been the Coach Bryan Moore Show. All right, this week in Hartselle Athletics, it's homecoming week. But let's look first at Thursday. Volleyball is going to host Sparkman. 7th and 8th grade football, they're going to travel to Muscle Shoals. Friday, that's homecoming. We're going to host Columbia here at J.P. Cain Stadium. Saturday, HJHS is hosting a volleyball tournament at the Petty Center. JV volleyball is going to be traveling to Pelham, and varsity volleyball is going to be off this week. Monday, September 21st, JV football is going to travel to Columbia. And then on Tuesday, volleyball is going to host Danville and Priceville here at home. So come visit, check out these kids that are working so hard in practice all year. Support your Hartselle Athletics.
Hey football fans, we are so excited to have another year of Hartselle football underway. 2020 season, expecting a great year, and we're so excited about Coach Bryan Moore and his family being here. Coach Moore's a great coach, and he's going to lead us to great things right here in Hartselle, but not only this year, but for years to come. Go Tigers!